Here we go. Hey everyone, I'm here with Tobias Lars. He is a soul counselor and he has been extremely integral in my journey of being myself to the fullest. And today's interview is really all about spiritual empowerment and really how you can use spirituality to bring yourself further along the path of really rediscovering a creative life and a life that is more full and well-rounded. So, Tobias, do you care to introduce yourself?
No. I am me. Yeah, and I am a lot more free than I used to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And as you brought this topic up about spirituality, I mean, what's that? But it's such a wave on the planet now. People are realizing, a whole nother level to me than I knew or thought. There's a big awakening. We're all having little awakenings going on. There's more to us, and we've been kind of in arrested development. So this whole arena of spirituality is going to be more and more individual, more unique for each of us. And that's really cool. How unique. The spirituality is going to go from being, I'm a yogi, I do ascension, I do Patanjali processes, the whole Vedic yogic process. Most of what's been called real spiritual ascension has been through this yoga thing,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, it's supposed to be I raise my kundalini and I, eventually open my crown chakra, the thousand petal lotus, and that's true ascension and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, God, the universe, the Song of One, universe is not a cookie-cutter universe. How could there only be one method of remembering, reawakening more of who we really are? That just doesn't make sense. Just like there's thousands of flowers, a flower you could say is the enlightenment of a plant when it finally blooms.
Yeah.
The fruition, the completion, the ultimate orgasmic expression of a plant, you could say, is a flower. Well, there's not just one marigold growing on planet Earth, and the 100 billion other habitable planets in our galaxy. I said that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
100, excuse me, 10 billion, I think it's 10. Anyways, in the billions of habitable planets in our galaxy. They probably have some flowers too. So there's no cookie cutter flowers. There's no cookie cutter humans. So how can there be cookie cutter enlightenment or awakening? It just doesn't follow. So in my last and I don't promote ayahuasca particularly. For people that are drawn to it, great. It's awesome. But in my last ceremonies, and I haven't done a lot, probably 15 or less, totally personal ceremonies. I'm not an ayahuasquero, but ayahuasca talks to me because of my other spiritual development. I can interact with her as a being. But I asked her, the impertinent little dude that I am, I'm willing to ask questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage everybody to do this. You have the right to ask questions. You don't have to be annoying, but you have the right to go, I don't know about that for me, or, keep it to yourself. Keep your experience is going to be what's true for you, and that's what's awesome. And so that's the same with spirituality. I'm not going to be like Guru Swami Rama Lama Ding Ding. I'm not going to do it just the way he did it. Right? One of the characters I do, by the way, Guru Swami Rama Lama Ding Ding. Yes, he does a lot on tantric breathing, but that's a whole other thing. But we can't do that. It never works. You can't become like Jesus. You can open the Christ in you, but that's going to be Katerina Christ or Tobias Christ, the Christos
Mm-hmm.
Logos. As we access the oversoul of the planet, the Logos, maybe it has to do with the heart-shaped Allen belts. Who knows? Once we're cognizant of the Allen belt torus field around the planet, that's the same as the Logos. I'm just surmising here. See, I'm exploring. We get direct downloads like that one. We get them all the time.
Right.
They love.
And we don't even recognize it as that.
Yeah, or we've been trained to shut it off because I was just working with a client right before we're calling here, And she's an educator in Switzerland, or she works with these educators, and she's just a bit heartbroken at how conformist the system is trying to be now and shut down creativity. And she said, when I was 5, I was more clever. She's British, so she used that word. I was clever, more clever. And when I got into school, I was told I had to draw. I always made copies of things. I wanted to do my own paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you want to do your own enlightenment. And you can beg, borrow, and use and be inspired by everybody. But do your own thing, because no followers of any guru has ever, they've been inspired finally to do it their own way. That's only when they awaken. If they try to cookie cutter follow someone else's exact steps, it's never worked for them.
And I think that that's a lot of what people are feeling nowadays. Is just they're following people to their dead ends. Like, I was doing a radio show last night just talking about self-empowerment and, the topics of medicine and just in general, this whole awakening process were coming up, and people were just because I was standing up there, talking about what I was talking about, people were being like, so what should I do? And I'm like, you're missing the point. The idea is for you to be able to find your own answers from within, because we all have that guidance system set up. And, for some people, it's a little more atrophied than others because they just haven't been using it. But, this idea of really doing your own thing is really scary to a lot of people because they're afraid of being wrong or not doing it the right way. But it's like, there is no right way. Your way is the right way for you.
And be willing to fail, to explore. Everyone who's ever done anything, I don't know, the Abraham Lincoln story, he fails at everything. If you read his life story, it's like his wife commits suicide, his son dies of some horrible disease, he fails at running for Congress, he doesn't pass the bar, all that stuff. He fails, succeeds, fails, something happens. Finally, he turns into being a huge role for the planet. So, yeah, I wanted to finish about ayahuasca. So when we're in ceremony in January with ayahuasca, me being my impertinent self, I asked her directly, I said, and she's a goddess, if you will. She's this being that appears during ayahuasca ceremony. She can be a young maiden. She showed up with green skin and copper-colored hair for me the first time. But I've seen her as the old wise woman also, or as a jaguar, or as the snake, the anaconda. She takes many forms. She's all forms. See? All forms are okay. And I asked her directly, I said, were you ever human? And I haven't heard of anybody that has ever asked her that. And she's so quick. Now, this is unique spiritual awakening. She's a being who's gone before us, just like Pele, or Jesus Christ, or Saint Germain, or Buddha, or Babaji, or 1,000 others you haven't heard of, because not everyone wants a public awakening. It tends to freak out people, right? Doesn't end well there, that crucifixion thing. Jesus is like, let's not talk about that. Let's move on. I'm ready to move on. I've been there. We did that. Let's not talk about it. So I ask ayahuasca, I go, were you ever human? And she's super quick. She goes, yes, but I don't want to talk about it. Joking with me. Real masters tend to be, they're everything. The one thing you'll notice is they are willing to go there with you. They're willing to go there with you if there's respect. You can't fool them. You can't fool Mother Nature. You can't mock the universe. You can't get away with anything. But if you're like a little child, they'll go there with you. They'll play with you. So she's playing with me. I go, were you ever human? She goes, yeah, but I don't want to talk about it. She makes me laugh. She gets me. I start laughing because that's usually enough to get you off track. And I go, no, you're not going to get me off track. I go, no, I want to know. And then she starts being comedian. She goes, who gave this guy Tobias the right to look at? I'm going around her. I'm literally like going around her. I'm going to look at her Akashic records, her chart, which every soul, in a way, the book of life is what religions call it. The Akashic records is what it's called, and the Akasha is this fine, they're like thought form imprints. It's finer even than photons. The Akasha. And that's such a reverberating word. We all hear it and we go, oh, I've heard that somewhere. Akasha. And anyway, so she starts joking and goes, who gave this guy permission to look at my chart? And she's like, I'm going to have to talk to whoever gave you permission. Like, the masters joke with each other. She's talking to Babaji and Yogananda, who are people I work with, beings, or so. She goes, did you guys give Tobias permission to look at people's charts? I think you need to revoke this license. It gets really ridiculously funny, right? But she won't get me off track. So I'm going behind her, and I'm looking at who she was as a being before she became enlightened, awake, merged. Just like Pele is an awake human being. She's a good example in Hawaii. And I go to a lifetime where I see her as this, I don't know, native person, but kind of more aquiline feature. She's up in the highlands of what I would call Peru. You know, these ancient, but it's back when it was an outpost for Atlantis or something. And I'm seeing her as a human shamaness. I mean, I'm allowed to look because I've gained enough access that I'm allowed to do it. The less you judge, the more access it seems to that you're given. The less you judge, the more you're safe to see, because you don't create pollution. Judgment is kind of like pollution in the universe. And then I see her in the jungle. She's both in the Altiplano, the high plains of Peru, as this shamaness. I can see her headdress, but it's building these temples which seem Atlantean or Lemurian. And then she's in the jungle, full on working with all the animals. And then I see a process where she just merges with the jungle. She merges with all the animals. She merges with all the plants. So she became awake, enlightened, if you will, fulfilled, back to 0 point, transpersonal awakening, whatever we want to call it. We need new words besides enlightenment. And I see her merging with the jungle. And that was her merging. Let's use that instead of ascension. Her merging. That's why she works with all the jungle plants. And that's why they all are at her beck and call, in a sense. She's comfortable with all of them. So her awakening method was through that. Just as valid, if not more, if you're here on planet Earth, as sitting in the caves of the Himalayas. And I was just like struck by, wow, that's a whole nother way of fulfilling becoming an awake human being. You merged with the Amazon jungle. Pele, goddess of the volcano, she merged with the Hawaiian nature islands. So let's open the box to how would I like my awakening to be? Or how do I, you don't even have to do that. You can just live and it'll happen naturally. If you're just following what's attracting you, it's going to happen naturally. But let's put aside, because any mental thing becomes a little box. Oh shit, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? I didn't see the blue light that's shaped like a star. Is there something wrong with me? My third eye is wrong.
Is there something wrong with me? I'm not listening to the spiritual guides talking in my head.
Exactly. Because it's about us. Yeah, it all comes to us naturally anyway. Like for years I used to think, when some of my friends and others are, they really could see the other dimensions. I go, well, what's wrong with me? And then I would start seeing stuff. But it's not about those gifts. That's why every teacher says, no, let that come to you naturally. You're already doing it. The funny thing is that everybody experiences, they go, oh, I've been doing this my whole life. I just had this sort of like filter there. Or, I wasn't supposed to notice it even to my own personality, but it's always been happening anyway. Right. And by the way, in my opinion, the highest psychic power is clairsentience, just knowing. Clairvoyance is seeing. Clairaudience, you're hearing from spirits, But But clairsentience is, no, I just know that's right. That's actually considered the highest talent. So a lot of people out there that are clairsentient, you can listen to something and you go, that rings true. That feels true for me. That's the highest psychic power, really. Because clairvoyants can be fooled a lot of times. They get sucked into the visionary aspect, and they can get misled by fancy mirrors and stuff. So actually, don't put ourselves down if you can't see spirits. Who cares? Don't worry. You will see spirits. Don't worry. You're here to have an earth experience for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, so let's open up. Ayahuasca and Pele did it completely different than yogis. You know, Kabir and Rumi did it through dancing, heart chakra, poetic music love. Sufi dancing, you know what I'm saying? We love Rumi because he did it through, I don't know, through love. If you want to do it through love and you're like, I don't want to do it through freaking yoga meditation, do it, hook up with Krishna. Krishna's all into that. He will hook you up with awakening your heart. And he's like, yeah, it's a lot more fun than all this discipline, you know? So let's open the box. You and I right now, Katerina, we're opening the box, sending waves across the planet, like we drop a nice pebble in the pond that goes all over the whole planet. There are multiple ways. There's multiple ways, and you're all okay. We're all okay to want to do it in a way that feels pleasurable and enjoyable for me. Multiple ways of awakening. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, I come across a lot of people who are so stuck in this notion that, you know, if they're not following up their meditation practice or their spiritual practice or their yoga practice, then they're doing it wrong and they're not really spiritual. And, you know, I think that for more than anything, what I try to do with myself is because I was there, you know, I was in that state as well. And, you know, when I came across you and the stuff that you were putting out on the internet, I mean, I was just so like, whoa, oh my gosh, this is completely different than what all these other people are talking about. But there was such a truth to it, you know, such a truth that, you know, if you're really allowing yourself to experience joyfully whatever it is that you're doing, I mean, that's right for you, you know? And for me, sometimes that's being completely ridiculous and just dancing crazily or, you know, just loving fully or being silent. You know, it's very dynamic, and it's not just like a one set way of being spiritual. That's really one-dimensional that people are talking about, but it's just allowing yourself to be the full range is really, important.
People do it right now. People that watch this, and we can do it. I allow the universe to come to me and bring me novel openings. It's like the universe is like every flower, you could say, isn't like flowers are such a cool thing. You know, we take them for granted, which is amazing. They're unbelievable, but they're like little openings into the eternity. I mean, you look at their petals; they're like these little vortexes of enlightenment and opening. That's why flowers are always such a good archetype. You know, every guru always has that vase of flowers. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
Well, listen to the flowers sometimes more than you're listening to them. Next time you just just tune into the flowers and go, that's it, you know? Yeah. I got erased, which is lovely, by the way. Whenever you get erased, one thing that's going to start happening to you on the awakening path is you're going to be willing to play a little. You're not going to have formal structure. Now, okay, I got it back again. Nothing wrong with discipline. We're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I still do my yoga. I still do meditation, but I do it when it wants to be done. At the place now when it sort of steals upon me and does itself through me. I sit in yoga and do the breathing like from Self-Realization Fellowship. I do the body yoga, but I don't only do that. I'm at the gym. I'm in the car. I'm sitting outside the store, and my partner Joy's in the store, and I'll just sit there and feel my inner body, you know. But it wants to happen. I'll be ridiculous, you know. I'm at the Paradise Valley restaurant the other day, and the lady in checking out, she goes, do I get a cookie with that? An older woman, you know. And the very organized says he's a team leader on his thing, right? Says, no, you only get cookies with a meal or with the pastas. And there's a pause. Yeah, exactly. So the lady's like this, right? It's all about the cookies. Come on, get real. And so there's a pause for a moment, and then I didn't plan it because I've given permission to the universe because it's fun. I didn't plan it, but out of my mouth comes, why not? Right? Right? And I say it just like that, kind of loud, right? And the lady looks at me, and she starts kind of smiling and laughing. And the team leader, he's like, oh shit, am I going to get in trouble? You know, or am I going to create trouble? And I go, how about she gets, and then I kept running with it, just playing. It's just play. And I said, you know, how about how about a little fudge brownie? Does she qualify for that? Like I went on and on with it for a while till they were laughing, right? But that I just give permission to the universe, play through me when it wants to. You can't force it. But that happens spontaneously. Just ridiculous. You say something that comes out, and it was beautiful. And then the end result of it is always more for everybody, more abundance, fishes and loaves. And what actually happened was, when I got up there after her, she walked off and laughed. She didn't get her cookie. You know, I wasn't able to get her the cookie right then. But then I tell him, well, can I buy the, you know, do I get a buy one, get one free? And he goes, yeah. And I go, okay, great. So I'm going to buy one, get one free. But they were out of the coconut, whatever. So they had to, the end of it was they ended up giving me an extra cookie anyway. So the extra cookie showed up anyway.
Cute.
And she could have her cookie. Because I was willing to follow the spontaneous, not needing to know what the hell is going on. I don't need to know. I don't need to manipulate. That's faith. That's what masters like Jesus called faith. Step into it and let it happen. And,
All right.
Yeah. Step into it and let it happen. When you do a presentation, or like we're doing right now, you didn't have an outline. We're like, oh my God, no, we're not doing that. We have like, okay, here's the thread. Let's see what happens. That's it. You know, that's it. And that's what's fun anyway. The best times we ever have in our lives is when something unexpected happens. You know?
It's true.
When you had unplanned afternoon, you know? What did you guys do all afternoon? I don't know. We just hung out. We were laying in the field and fun things happened. Right?
Yeah.
So right now, allow the universe, everybody who listens to this, if you want to, allow in, here's my field. I'm sitting in my aura field, if you will, my Buddha field, the Vitruvian man, Da Vinci's Vitruvian man. You have this energy field membrane there, or thing, breathable thing that interacts with the world. You can tell the universe, I want to interact with you. Come at me. You know? And you can set your dials how you want it. You can go, you're allowed to surprise me. Or no, I need to feel safe. I don't want anybody coming in my membrane, you know. You can set that up how you want. We literally are doing it anyway, but we're mostly doing it by default and by programming. You know, it gets programmed into us, and then we feel safe or unsafe, or that's dangerous, or, you know, oh no, I can't do that. But start saying to the universe, yes. Because if you say yes to the universe will play with you. It will start in the most magical place, in the unexpected places. That's part of the real spiritual awakening. That's part of why. Now, a real master we're not quite ready for yet in a public way. We're ready for Eckhart Tolle's. We're ready for Katie Byron's, which I love those guys. We're ready for, you know, Oprah doing it safely. We're ready for that. But a real crazy master like Osho, or, you know, and he was even calm. If you actually watch his stuff, he would be super calm, super sweet, super gentle.
Because that's what we expect.
Yeah, it's what we expect, and it's what makes us feel safe. But if someone came in with the power and started, you know, mixing Robin Williams and Elvis and, you know, Osho and Yogananda and Krishna and just blew it up, we're not ready for it. You know what I mean? But we will be. We're getting there. We're getting there to let crazy masters, meaning full-on spontaneous humans. Imagine like they say, imagine a fully awake human like a 3-year-old but conscious. Jesus as that level of spontaneity of a 3-year-old, but you're an avatar.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're headed. And that's what they're like. When I interact with the masters, because I do, when I do personal sessions with people, like this week, I hadn't worked with Krishna really ever. I'd read the Bhagavad Gita. I know about it. But she's a follower of Krishna, this woman. She's really cool. She walked out of India. She got stuck in a marriage there, and it's very traditional still in India and a lot of the places. She got out, is doing her own thing, but she has a direct relationship with Krishna. And Krishna showed up during our session. And he's funny. They're a riot with each other. If you ever watch Masters, and this is why they're mentors in a sense, they're absolutely ridiculously funny and irreverent. It would be like Robin Williams, God bless him, rest in peace. He's fine. He's got no problems. But they're absolutely like that all the time when nothing is sacred. Talk about sexual frickin' jokes. The masters are all over the place. Now, when I work with people like Sai Baba, on the surface, they have to be very formal and not scare us. But when you work with them privately or in the ethers, there's no sacred cows that they will not go after. When you're ready. When you're ready. Because at first, they will freak you out because we have all these concepts of what a spiritual teacher should talk about and not talk about.
You sit there going, whoa, yeah, completely placid.
My last teleclass, I was surprised. The last one I did, I must have said fuck a bunch of times, and they're just getting a lot more loose, and that's where we're headed. We're going to take back that which we've relegated to, quote, bad or evil or dark is simply just going to become energy again, So that's actually happening very rapidly. Another vision I want to say that recently I had with Shiva. Shiva, that I know people are going to think, Tobias, you're wackadoodle, you're crazy, Only watch this if it's appropriate for you, okay?
I'll put a big disclaimer on the front, be like, only watch this if you are ready.
Warning. No, it's real. Keep it simple, like a little child, That's what God loves. Real teachers like Yogananda, God, whatever, it is our higher self, We've been so down on the word God. I never had any form of religion, so I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me, But when we say God source, you could say it's just our higher selves. It's true. But until you're actually there, that is much, much bigger than you. And there are beings that have done this journey before you, and it's just like you can help teach someone to swim. They can be very helpful to us as well. So this is not about a free-for-all. You're not ready for no form until you've been through it. Bruce Lee could go formless with his martial arts because he had trained with forms.
Yeah.
He could break the mold and go formless and without routine. Now that scared the shit out of the Orthodox schools. And there's some perhaps evidence that shows that perhaps they were the ones who were interested in killing him off, the super secret martial arts societies of China. Yeah, but this is where it's headed anyway. We're headed towards freedom of choice, formlessness, individual expression, spontaneous individual avatars that are as free and open as 3-year-olds, yet wise as serpents, wise with their kundalini, absolutely appropriate. That's my experience with the masters. They are completely, with me, one of my teachers, I remember the first time I ever saw this, one of my teachers, he's an American guy, he grew up in Pennsylvania, he's one of my teachers. He first taught me about shamanic stuff and opening up to see, seeing other dimensions and energies. But I remember sitting one time as I was his young apprentice, if you will, and I saw him do this. I saw him go, no, and he hit his ear like that. And I could tell he was telling, it happened to be Sai Baba and Jesus, and people are going to think this is wacky, I know. Don't be afraid, there's real beings, there's fake channelers. Always. There's fake channelers, there's misuse all the time, fake psychics, and there's the real stuff. It's just part of how it has to be. It's the only way that we learn to discern what's real and what's not. You need both fake and the real. Well, anyway, as he did that, I could tell he was telling the coaching crew, which was Jesus, Sai Baba, and they were suggesting things for him to do, and he's going, I'm not going to do that. Stop. And that's the first time I saw that, because they were encouraging him to share things with me that he wasn't ready to share, because he thought it would freak me out. The real masters, the inner sacred teachings are very different. It's what Yogananda used to call, there's the public circle of disciples and there's the inner circle. The inner circle is really, out of the box. And it has to be, to break us out of our boxes. And that includes everything. And so in this new model for spirituality, we're going to start re-including crazy humor, sexuality again, and not in creepy tantric ways. A lot of the tantra out there still is just vampire feeding people on each other. That's just part of the deal. You got to learn to discern and see through that as well. But all teachers worth their salt, including the ones we weren't ready for sex and real human feelings to be included in our spirituality. That's the huge leap now. That's the big step. That innocence, become ye as little children. Jesus says it clearly. Unless you become as little children, you're not going to heaven. Hello? If you guys are Jesus followers, that's about as clear as it gets. Unless, that's pretty strong, you become as little children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. What part of that is not clear? None of your shenanigans, none of your manipulations, none of your little fucking hiding shit, trying to be all nicey-nicey and manipulate this and do behind this. None of that's going to work. None of it. None of it. Whether it's the national security, so the NSA spying on people, or the CIA or the Mossad, they only exist because we've got that internal manipulation about us. The only thing that's ever going to work in this age of Aquarius is authentic transparency. That's pretty much what Jesus says in every other teacher. Unless you become as little children, meaning you don't try to manipulate shit, you're not hiding stuff, you're completely open with your feelings and how you feel, but in a wise as serpents and gentle as doves way. You can't mess with Mother Nature. You can't mess with Krishna. Krishna was the stealer of hearts. You can't fool him if you get any shenanigans. Lucifer has no chance against Jesus and Krishna and God. None. Zippo, nada. Your ego mind has no chance against it. But the ego mind Luciferian rebellion needs to be there, because if you still think that's going to work, you need to go off and try it. It's all good. Perfect. It's absolutely perfect. All the suffering, all the learning, it's all perfect. It really is. Once you see it from there, when you're inside it, it's horrible confusion and so forth. But so this new model, those masters were always there already. They just had history would be whitewashed about what they were really about, because we couldn't handle what they really were. How can India today, how conservative and uptight they are about sexuality? They're just starting, with Bollywood and, show midriffs, oh my God. There's not been one Indian television yet. I don't know, maybe, but I doubt it, right? There's probably, that's still, right? But how can they reconcile that Krishna, their highest avatar, better than Shiva, better than Rama, their biggest, most attractive avatar, biggest teacher ever in Indian history, had 3,000 gopis, milkmaids, that he was out dancing with in the forest, right? How can they reconcile that? He's a lover of hearts, of everything, but that includes sex and bodies. So here's India, the most conservative, if you will, sexually repressed in one way. Their highest teacher of course, is Krishna, who's the most orgiastic teacher ever on the planet. Right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a cognitive dissonance right there.
But it's perfect because that's exactly what's needed, right? It's the polarity thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're attracted to him because it's what they need. That's a cool one, right? Whatever you're really attracted to, that's where your freedom lies.
Yeah, and that totally ties back in with this idea of, practices and what you need to be doing to be furthering your spiritual path. Lately for me, it's been like, painting my face and, mud baths or whatever, and, just going out and being a total wild woman. Because, like, that's really what makes me feel most alive, and it's totally crazy, but it's an expression of where I'm at with my spirituality. So,
Yeah. You're just reminding me of a time when we used to lay naked by the side of the river in the mud in Sedona, right? Where Dry Creek Road, now there's a big resort out there, and it's more trafficked, and the trails are marked. But this would have been like 20 years ago. When Dry Creek was flowing, which like today, because we're getting hit by remnants of 2 storms here in Arizona,
mm-hmm.
we'd go out, and Dry Creek's flowing, we'd get in, it'd be this muddy water, we'd find some mud, right on the side of the road. Well, I mean, you couldn't see us from the road, but we're right there by the bridge. And we would just lay out naked and let the sun dry the mud on us.
That's awesome.
And last time I was there 2 weeks ago, I took Bentley, my dog, the golden retriever, and I noticed, it's all marked trails now, and there's more traffic. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure we could do it, but because the river was flowing again, so I had that thought, maybe we should get in the water in it. And it's not about pushing or shocking anybody, A lot of the truth movement today, I watched something the other day with a guy in the truth movement, I'm not going to say names right now, who's very well known, and he was out on the street, and there was like this battle between protesters, There's like a schism in the truth movement. And one side was yelling at the other side, peace now, peace now, peace now. And I'm like, unless you heal that war inside yourself, even if you're chanting peace, but you're doing it in a aggressive, they were literally going, peace now. It was like, you might as well be doing a Maori war dance with the way you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that's something to watch out for. In the truth movement, we've got to be careful with, unless you heal that stuff inside yourself, you may get the concept of oneness. You may get the concept of we shouldn't have money on the planet. You may get the concept of plenty for everyone. But if you don't heal the little demons inside yourself, wherever you go, those demons are going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of a non-negotiable spiritual physics law. It's sort of like whatever, if you don't bathe, you're going to have certain odors about you. If you don't do that, so if you don't clean your spiritual energies, you're going to have certain shit following you around. And
your astral shit.
Yeah, shit. That's what I call it, your astral shit. Yeah. And with love and compassion, it's a big change for us because it's been the recent past on Earth, the last 300,000 years or so, has been pretty much, that's recent, by the way, 300,000 years, has been pretty much a slave camp. It's been kind of a horror show. It's been, misuse, ETs coming in, playing God, starting the Mesopotamian religions, the Anunnaki, the Egyptians trying to do good things and then it going bad, so forth, the Mars influence, all that. It's been a horror show for most humans for 300,000 years. It's been pretty much survival time, wars. And so we're coming out of that now. So for us to trust again that we can reopen our hearts, get simple, become ye as little children, it's not an instant, oh yeah, let's do it. No, you're going to have some fear, some doubts, some hopelessness, to purge if you're a normal human being. You know, it's 2 steps: letting in the enjoyment while you're purging the grief and the rage. You know, that's basically it. Purge the old shit. It's got to go to let in the new. You got to get rid of that. And that's in ourselves. It's our karma. It's the sins. It's our memes, you know. Those can't be avoided. They have to be addressed and healed and, you know, upgraded, basically.
Do you come across people in your sessions who are, you know, kind of like, it feels almost like they're schizophrenic in a way because they're going through that joy and then the sadness and then the joy and the sadness, and it's just like this manic bipolar thing that happens during awakening? I mean, I know that for me, you know, there was a long period of like 2 years where I would be going through that. You know, I'd be so happy, I'd be crying at the drop of a hat, tears of joy, and then it would just be sorrow and depravity and just this. It was almost like this just a strange oscillation. Like, how would you describe that in terms of what's happening in terms of awakening?
Absolutely. I actually say it. I think I said it again on our teleclass Sunday. I said, unless you're going through spiritual bipolarism, you're not actually awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, you're staying in the numb zone in the middle and you're just making shit up in your head. You're not actually doing it.
Right.
I use this example all the time. You know, this whole thing about bipolar and you know, the psychoactive drugs, or, you know, the antidepressants, it's very dangerous because it shuts down the human being. It's basically, you know, you take the whole spectrum of electromagnetic energy and you just shut it down to the visible light. Well, then plants can't grow. If all they got was visible light, they need more than that. They need all the other stuff. Well, so do we. We need to feel all of it. And I use this example here, and I'm going to prove to people that it's healthy to be spiritually bipolar, okay? When your mother cries at your wedding, and everybody goes, Mom, why are you crying? She says, 'cause I'm so happy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the proof. She's feeling something real. She's feeling. Usually it's mom because she's less suppressed than the male aspect. Usually.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, but generally that's the way it's been. Why are you crying, Mom? Because I'm so happy. That's when energy is moving. When you're feeling both polarities and it's purging. The tears are purging the sadness and the fear, and the happiness is pushing it out. The letting in the love and the enjoyment pushes it out. So mom is crying tears of joy. That's the direct proof that when energy moves, emotion, energy in motion, when you really let that happen, you're going to feel both the light and the dark. Well, we've termed that. That's the knowledge of good and evil that got us fucked up to begin with.
What do you have to say about people who are judging that process of, you know, they're feeling their feelings, you know, and all of a sudden they're like, where the hell is this coming from? Oh my God, I'm so terrible. Bad me for being angry, bad me for being depressed, and, you know, that negative feedback loop. How would you recommend that people move beyond that?
Recognize what I just said at first. There's no way to reclaim yourself unless you both reclaim the glory and the joy, and you reclaim that which you've shoved in the basement, you know, repressed, tried to hide. You've got to, if to become the full human, the fully vibrating Buddha field human, you have to go back in and accept both the glory and the stuff, the denied aspects. You got to do it. You got to get that through your head. Okay. So while that's occurring to you, it's good to keep in mind, because it's the mind that's going to try to throw stuff up and saying there's something wrong with me, this is bad, this shouldn't be happening, blah, blah, blah. Keep in the mind a little antidote, which is, I am giving birth to a new me. I'm giving birth to the next level of me. What does birth look like? If you have judgments, right. If you have judgments on birth, which most of us do, it's like Oh, that's, you can't go in there and go, I want it to be antiseptic and quiet and calm. That's completely unreasonable. I want no blood, no body fluids, no sweating, no moaning, no strange noises. I want it all to be all. That's crazy. Imagine what torture we would put women through. We've tried that. We've tried to just sedate them and cut it out. That's what we do. That's horrible. The natural birth process with children, we've realized now that when babies are born, that massaging that happens of the head and the everything actually gets the blood flow correct for the baby. It tells the baby you're being born now. The actual compression from the mother, the vagina, that's actually what's needed. Nature knows what it's doing. Surprise, surprise.
Mhm.
That's what needs to happen. And I'm going to blow, people. Some people have heard of this, but the new model is going to be orgasm during birth.
Oh yeah.
Just Google orgasmic birth. It's starting to happen, and I know, but the programming is it has to be done with pain and it has to be all that. But that's the new model. It's starting to come in. I know it still sounds crazy to most people. But so when I'm giving birth to myself, is it going to look all perfect? No, there's going to be some screaming, some crying, some dying, some wanting to kill yourself, some. You're going to go from I am one with the universe, God is beautiful, I'm starting a new religion. And then 10 minutes later, you're going to go to, holy shit, it's completely hopeless, I'm going to kill myself, I wish I never existed. All right?
Mhm.
If you're penduluming between those two polarities, you're doing awesome. You're doing awesome. Good on you, mate. You're doing fantastic. Don't fight. Really. And, don't go looking for it, but as it naturally comes up, just be realistic. Birth is messy if you judge it. Animals don't judge the birth as messy. They eat the afterbirth.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
humans are starting to finally get that too. They're actually taking the placenta and they're making it, they dry it, of course, so it's palatable. Or there's women actually cooking it and putting it in their lasagna. Because the hormones, I know, I'm pushing the boundaries. I know. When Joy's daughter, Kristen, had her last child, they saved the placenta. The woman, for $100, the doula made it into pill form, and they took those because the hormones that's helping the baby is unbelievably good for the mother.
Mhm.
Nature knows what she's doing. We have judgment on it.
Because
That's
it's
what
not
makes it
clean, it's dirty.
right. And we can push it really far on this. The blood from the menses, that's some of the holiest blood ever. It's all beautiful. Everything out of a healthy human being that eats right, meaning you don't eat processed preservative shit, all the fluids are absolutely sacred. Feel the paradigm shift on that.
Mhm.
All the fluids are. Now we got to get ourselves back to that. We've been raised on, hormone beef or, whatever, and preservatives, and, we need to let the body detox that. But we are sacred beings. Everything that exudes out of us and off of us, the energies, it's all sacred. It's all beautiful. Somebody's going to go, what about our poop, Tobias? That's the advanced level, folks. We'll talk about it some other. No, it's all. When you start eating just the way you should, all the stink goes away, It's all. Does nature have garbage? No. I love that when they're like, you're out in some nature preserve and they're like, you can't pee in the woods. And definitely not going number 2. And I'm like, there's a grizzly bear over there. What do they do? I think the bears shit in the woods, right?
Yeah.
We judged it as bad. We swim in the ocean. You ever seen a blue whale go to the bathroom? That's about 2 tons of stuff. But because they eat in the natural cycle, we swim in the ocean cleans it. Garbage is a concept.
Yeah.
Garbage is a concept from the knowledge of good and evil. So as we head back towards a real spirituality, the good and evil concepts are going to be starting to merge into experience of different just frequencies. Everything is beautiful. Everything has its place. Mother Nature does not hate fungus, you know. So when we go through our own personal healing, those feelings that you've labeled fungus, bad, you're going to have to reincorporate them, you know. And so when you're going through this process, be patient with yourself and go, I'm giving birth to myself, a new self. There's going to be some messiness, some placenta and some fluids and some howling and crying and some fears. It's always joy mixed with some fear in birth. You know, you want to make everything's going to go right. There's some fear. That's where we're at as humans. So this personal rebirth, spiritual awakening, you're also going to experience incredible joy, the honeymoon periods, right?
Yeah.
When you're just blissed out with God. And then you're going to experience the depths as well. It's just part of the process. Accept it right now. My spiritual bipolarism, notice it. I'm feeling incredibly blissed out, and the next, day I'm feeling at the depths of it. That means you're usually doing very good cleaning out work.
It's such validation for the period of time in my life that I was definitely going through that.
I love Katerina, and you and I never really talked, but I'd see you on Facebook, and I could just feel it. Like you took the ball and ran with it. We are on a group on Facebook, Course of Awakening. And that feeds me. It's like, somebody's actually doing it instead of wanting to hang around the edges and just look at it. Like, I want to watch other people. Are they going to? Is Mikey going to try? I'm not going to try. if you were actually doing it, and you could feel it. You could feel you coming from, and you're so young, How old are you?
21. Tomorrow's my birthday. 22.
22?
Uh-huh.
And I love that. And so you were obviously very young when you started, which I love. In my course in Switzerland that we did, we had 17, 18, 19-year-olds attending. I was like, this is awesome.
That's so awesome.
Loved it. But I could feel you going, I get it, and I'm going to do it. And it was happening to you. And your shift changed from, being in a mode of whatever, unsure, you could say, into very strong energy would be coming out of you of, I'm doing this, I'm going to claim my power, I'm going to do things in the world, I'm going to start sharing this. So watching you live and do it, that's, by the way, the only authority that's real authority. Having done it is the real authority that makes another person a teacher. That's it.
That's really interesting that you say that, because, that's been something that I've been coming across in my own world here. There's all of this, you have to be certified to help people.
I'm still around. I'm not sure. Katerina has temporarily entered the trance state, like St. Teresa of Avila. She's enjoying samadhi, and she's enjoying her own direct connection with Source. I know I'm being goofy, but why not? I'm having fun.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I was just, where it cut off for me was I was talking about, being certified to help people and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Like that notion that, if you want to help people in this world, you have to have a certificate or a therapy degree or some sort of thing. And oftentimes it's nonsense.
No, exactly. Exactly. So when I said, the only real authority, you become an authority by having done it. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you might want to put that up. Yeah, there.
Yeah, because I was saying that for myself personally, like, I've been having like this push to keep helping people like, in a one-on-one way, kind of like how you do, but with my
Mm-hmm.
own stuff that I've learned. And
Mm-hmm.
there's been that voice in the back of my mind that's like, well, you don't have a therapy degree. Well, you're not a coach. You're not certified. I'm like, but I'm not doing those things to people. It's like how do
Yeah.
you? I really am wanting this world to kind of get beyond that place, because we used to have it with the shamans and the healers and that kind of stuff back in the day, and your credentials were experience, and your credentials were just like how effective you were, not like what school did you
Yeah.
go to or how many degrees do you have or letters after your name.
Absolutely, and that's really that's why I was just feeling that the only authentic authority. Both of those words start with AU, gold. Gold is the only non-perishable thing around, close to it on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Authentic authority, the gold, the truth, is that you've lived it yourself. And that's why there's a joke. I mean, inside the
Right.
psychotherapist community or psychiatrists, they know they're the most screwed up of all. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
they know that, and which is brave, to be able to laugh at themselves. But so learning it in books and techniques are good, but unless you have a base of authentic transformation inside yourself, it's basically, you've heard that saying, you can't solve a problem from the same level it was created from.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in order to be able to be an authentic mirror or hold space for people, you need to be able to have that facility. If you don't and you just have theory, it doesn't really help people. It's theory land is like moving the furniture around on the Titanic. It doesn't matter how you arrange it. It really doesn't matter. You're going down. And so that's why real teachers like an Eckhart Tolle or whoever, they'll say, I'm not here to give you new information.
Mm-hmm.
There's no new theories coming your way. I'm here
Right.
to hold space till you surrender into yourself. Yeah.
It's
So, yeah,
beautiful.
I love watching your process, feeling your process over the net, someone taking it and running with it. That's what pleases us the most. And you must experience that yourself now, too. When you
With
watch
other
someone,
people. Yeah, it's so
yeah,
cool.
exactly. When you
Yeah.
love, that's what feeds us. It's just like a parent. The universe has it set up perfectly. If we surrender to the way the mechanics of the universe works, it's perfect. The Tao knows what it's doing. A parent watching their child ride a bike the first time, that parent is like, oh my God, I just feel so good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same with an authentic teacher. An authentic teacher enjoys that person awakening to themselves. And a fearful or a teacher with, whether they're conscious or unconscious agendas, doesn't like when the student starts having their own will, their own power, their own questions, their own theories, their own ways of doing it. An
Mm-hmm.
authentic teacher says, I love it. A dogmatic teacher, a stuck in theory land teacher says, no, that's wrong. No, you're doing it wrong. No, you have to follow the exact scriptures. You must not add anything else to the book. That's
Right.
you can tell a cult that uses that. But so yeah, feel that. The new model for spirituality is too that authentic new flowerings will be welcomed.
Mm-hmm.
Authentic new flowerings will not only be welcomed, they'll be enjoyed and and then there'll be bliss for everybody. New flowers feeds the whole garden. So the more flowers, the more people awakening, the merrier. That's the model of the universe. The control system, the paradigm of divide and conquer, the steel energy, it's going to want to keep you never reaching, never finding yourself.
Right.
Yeah. I like the new way.
Me too.
Yeah.
Tobias, So for people to get in contact with you, what is the best way for them to do that?
Don't call me. Stay away from me. Don't try to reach me. Leave me alone. I was just telling a client this morning, she lives in a little Swiss chalet, literally like a little house, but it's not in the mountains like that, but she's, down on Lake Geneva and beautiful. She has this little house, and I joke with her. She's complaining. I'm like, oh, princess in her little house all by herself by one of the most beautiful lakes in the world, But trying to get a hold of me, yeah. I was joking with her how I got rid of people. Please don't call me. I don't want anybody calling me. No, you can get a hold of me. I do personal sessions with people, which I love. Sometimes people ask me, don't they drain you? I go, no. I've set it up that when I work with people, it feeds me too. And when that stops, if it ever stops, I won't do it anymore, We do so you can find me several places. Soulcounseling.com is the personal counseling work. And it takes many shapes and forms. Soul retrievals, I do soul activations. But mainly it's a free flow. We're going to activate you. We're going to get you laughing and crying and moving and shaking and, let's get things moving. Or just hold space for healing, whatever is necessary. Soulcounseling.com. Every Sunday, mostly every Sunday, courseofawakeningseminar.com, courseofawakeningseminar.com. If you go to courseofawakening.com, that's a subset of the other one. But we do a teleclass, and I'm going to start doing it on Google Hangouts like this, actually. That everybody can attend. It's a nominal fee. And so those are the best places to find me. Or just go to YouTube, really. If you just want to, the best way is to go to YouTube, put in Tobias Lars, and just watch some of those videos, and you'll know very quickly if you resonate with what I do or not.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tobias. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you. Beautiful. You fed me. I told you that last time we talked. It was just, I don't know, it's just really nice to have, like I said, feeling other people that are inspired.
Guess we lost Tobias.